Well, folks, it looks like we have more X3D news on the horizon, but it may not be the exact kind of X3D news you may expect. Let's get into this. Hey everyone, it's about Lot Tech back in with some more tech news. So we have an awesome weekend so far. Now, we kind of been still and starving for a lot of tech news related, especially with the RAM crisis going on. But I had a couple of articles that I want to cover, one of which is some more X3D news in a vast scheme of things, but it's not the ones we've been custom hearing over and over and over again, like with the 8 core, the 16 core, but kind of similar, some relation. But I know all of us at this point have heard about the Threadripper Pro series, how AMD developed the Threadripper to Threadripper Pro as the entry-level ones, and then the really ultra high-end ones, they call it like they go up to like 99.8 something. But now there's some news in the article on WCCF Tech and videocars.net that, yeah, we already know the 9850X3D is coming, and it has a higher base frequency, but that's about it. And it has the same cache, X3D cache size, 96 megabytes, and everything else is the same besides the frequency. But the article I'm talking about today is for the Threadripper Pro line. Now, we all know that, yes, we have the 9950X3D, which is a 16-core consumer, but some of you may or may not know that there's also a 16-core Pro lineup for the Threadripper. So it's the same 16 cores, 60 threads, but it's specific for the data center. And of course, all Threadrippers have like lower base frequency and lower boost because they're not on a consumer platform. So this one in particular is called a 9965 X3D, which is the same 16 core, Zen 5 16 cores, and same 32 threads as a consumer Zen 5 9950 X3D. But of course, Threadrippers are lower frequency. They didn't mention that much frequency in the article, but they did say that they're on the lookout, AMD, to create a Pro line for the 16 core, not the 16 core consumer, the 16 core Threadripper, which doesn't make sense to me. Why would you skip the consumer 16 core and go straight to the Pro Threadripper, which is a very specific and niche platform, mind you? But they're planning to create a 9865 X3D, and they kind of briefly mentioned article, supposedly they might have a 16 core 9950 X3D sequel to the current 9950 X3D, but that's a lot of rumors flying around, and that's neither here nor there. So until we get actual hard evidence and hard receipts that the 16 core evolution or replacement for the X3D 16 core chip is actually a thing, I'm gonna just sit back and see how the world changes as far as the tech world, because I don't like speculating. So that's for another day. But they didn't have any pricing, but they did mention that they plan to release it around the end of January, supposedly for the Pro line Threadripper X3D. Now, why it made the news or why it made the buzz so far is because no one has ever expected, or people thought it out loud, and some people kept it to themselves, but I'm sure all of us, including myself at some point, I know I have thought of, okay, these X3D chips are really, really something, are really, really monsters. So I wonder if AMD is ever going to transfer that monster, like intricate monster boosting and 3D V-cache on a Threadripper lineup. Yeah, we all know like Threadripper is niche, but it'll be kind of dope to see if they actually put 3D V-cache on Threadripper. Of course, they could cause even more arms and legs, but that's just Threadripper in a nutshell. It's not really meant for the faint of heart, and they're not really meant for like regular basic consumers like you and me. But sure enough, I don't know how much of us thought that they're eventually going to carry it from the consumer platform to the Threadripper platform, but it looks like it's actually going to happen, and they're going to start with entry-level 16-core Threadripper Pro. 9865 X3D is the name they're going with right now. And if the 98, I can't remember the exact pricing of the 9865 non-X3D, but I know it was way more than the consumer level X3D by like $200 to $300, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that. But I'm really interested to see what y'all thoughts are. Are AMD finally taking a leap of faith to put 3D V-cache on their Threadripper lineup? May not be the top Threadripper, but the entry level Threadripper in general. Just think back and let me know in the comments below, how far has this 3D V-cache technology come to the point where AMD is confident enough to even put it or start transferring it to the Threadripper lineup itself. It is really crazy. I'm interested to see what the performance is like, since they're already meant for data centers versus the regular 9965 X3D and whatever other core count they choose to put the X3D on for the Threadripper. If they do, maybe it might flop and they decide not to make any more core count X3Ds on the the Pro lineup. But we don't know. We just gotta sit back and wait. But let me know in the comments below what your honest thoughts are on this. Are you excited that they're finally putting 3D V-Cache on Threadripper? Do you know someone that uses Threadripper? Let me know in the comments below. Until then, this is Boy Lock Tech signing out.